it is, amazing times, amazing stuff. The House of Representatives last night voted to sue the President of the United States. And now it looks like, to quote Shano in his inimitable fashion, Speaker of the House Ted Cruz got his way. The immigration reform legislation, which was sent to the House by the Senate, it was actually passed by the United States Senate, has died in. Did it officially die? Was there a vote, or what was the deal? Did Boehner? They pulled it. So Boehner just said, "That's it. We're not gonna vote on it. It's dead." Amazing. These guys are so committed to doing absolutely nothing while there is a Democrat or a black man, your choice, and I think it, frankly, is both, in the White House. They are so committed to this man having no successes. And when he does take small efforts that are provided for him in the Constitution, small efforts to enforce the laws in the ways that he sees fit to do so, they want to humiliate him, publicly humiliate him. That's what this lawsuit's all about. This is Birtherism version 2. It's the reboot of Where's the Birth Certificate? Now it's Where's the Legitimacy? I heard this morning. Chuck Todd was asking a Democrat, well, where in the Constitution does it give the president this power? And I want to say, Chuck, what are you, some kind of idiot? It's like the Constitution says that the president shall faithfully execute the laws. That means it's up to him. He gets to decide what is faithful execution of the laws. Do we execute the laws by the absolute letter of the laws? That's typically impossible. By the meaning of the laws, the Supreme Court has said in the Chevron decision that the meaning of the laws is what's important. And, so if we're trying to accomplish, for example, everybody getting health care, and in order to make that work, we've got to delay the employer mandate by 1 year, cool, do it. That would be faithfully executing the laws, because the intent of Congress was clear. Everybody should have health insurance and thus access to health care. But the Republicans are saying, oh, no. This guy's not legitimate. First, in fact, almost half of Republicans to this day believe Barack Obama is a secret Muslim who was born in Kenya. 57% of Republicans want him impeached. And after the midterm elections, after the congressional elections that are coming up in 98 days, and you damn well better be registered to vote and go to your local Democratic Party office and get a list of all the Democrats on your block and go knock on their doors or call them up and say, hey, just want to make sure there's an election. Here's where the polling place is, and here are the days that it's open. Your state may or may not have early voting, may or may not have weekend voting. Here's the ID that you're going to have to bring along with you in order to vote if your state has voter suppression laws. Call the Democrats on your block or go knock on their door and tell them and get them out and say, hey, and if you need a ride to the polls, I'll be going at 10 o'clock. You're welcome to join me, or whatever time you can go. This is a really important election coming up. Because if the Republicans take the Senate and the Koch brothers and their buddies are pouring hundreds of millions, it's going to end up being billions of dollars that rich right-wingers are pouring into this thing to make sure that the Republicans take the Senate. And if they take the Senate, they will impeach the president. And, another way to just distract us all, bread and circus, hey, they haven't passed long-term unemployment insurance, even though the Senate passed it, the House refuses to. Haven't passed immigration reform, even though the Senate passed it, the House refuses to. They haven't passed changes in our trade policies or in our tax policies that encourage companies to move their factories overseas. So that Mitt Romney, when Bain Capital moved that company, I want to say Solyndra, that was the solar company, or was it not? I mixed them up because they sound so similar. Sensata, right. When Mitt Romney, when his company, Bain Capital, took Sensata and dismantled the factory and rebuilt it over in China, they actually got a tax break for that. And the Senate had a piece of legislation yesterday that would have ended that. And, on the first motion to proceed to debate, 93% of the senators said yes. But some Republican, I'm not sure who, it's probably Tom Coburn or Jim Inhofe, some Republicans stood up and said no. We're not going to allow cloture. We're not going to allow an end to the debate, and therefore we cannot allow a vote. Why? Because it'll pass. And what happens if it passes? Jobs start coming back to America. And what happens if jobs start coming back to America? America gets more prosperous. Wages go up. People can find jobs again. The number of people on food stamps starts going down. The number of people on assistance starts going down. The number of people who can pay their mortgages goes up. And the number of people being kicked out of their houses goes down. All those things will happen. And guess who will get credit for it if Congress passes this law? The president will get credit for it. Because these guys in Congress know that whatever happens, it's always both in the current time at the next election and for history remembered as that president. Newt Gingrich pushed for the Telecommunications Act. Newt Gingrich pushed for NAFTA, CAFTA, SHAFTA, WTO, all that. Who do we remember doing it? Bill Clinton. And so it's like, whoever's in the White House is the person who gets either the credit or the blame. I mean, occasionally a president actually does something. Lyndon Johnson pushed through the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act by pure force of personality. But he did have a good Democratic majority, as I recall. But the point is that the Republicans know that most Americans don't know who controls the House and Senate, but they do know that there's a Democrat and an African-American Democrat at that in the White House. And so if they can screw things up, which is what they just did, and now they're going to go on a 5-week vacation, if they can screw things up and cause pain for people, people will blame it on the president. And the president is a Democrat, so they'll blame it on the Democrats, which increases the probabilities that people will vote for Republicans in the midterm elections and the congressional elections for the Senate and for the House of Representatives. It's just mind-boggling. It's close to sedition. It is un-American. It is, if not legally, certainly morally and politically criminal. Detroit's going down the tubes, and people are having their water cut off so that Rick Snyder, thank you, the governor of Michigan, can sell it off to some private corporation and make some bucks for his buddies and get some more campaign contributions. And he's got this little dictator, Kevin Orr, down there, cutting off people's water, 3,000 people a week losing their water supply, to make the water system look more profitable for when they sell it to a private corporation. And Detroit gets less federal funds than the Philippines. Really? Our own country, our own people? Well, who determines how much the Philippines get and how much Detroit gets? Congress. You think Congress is going to get together and say, hey, there's a crisis right in the heartland of America. Let's do something about it. Fat chance. They want the pain. They want people hurting. They want Democrats to be hurting so bad that they'll say, this president was ineffective and couldn't make it happen, and screw him, I'm not going to go to the polls. And so that Republicans, and I'm talking about working class and working poor Republicans, will say, this economy sucks, it must be the president's fault, and I'm going to go vote for Republican. And independents as well. It's a very, very simple political calculus. 15 minutes past the hour.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
This goes back to 2009, the caucus room conspiracy. Kevin McCarthy said, we're going to oppose the president on every single piece of legislation. And they've done it.